I'd like to, bring the finance committee meeting to order at 6 P.M. Try to make it short and sweet. I would like to, we're gonna skip a little, we'll do the minutes in a little bit. We'll let these guys go quick, and you guys, you guys have some questions on, how that all works, between highway and water department and sewer, so, we thank Chris and Donna for coming, and, we'll just get through this, how's that? Anyone who wants to lead, go ahead, I'm just gonna sit here.
So how are the wages split? Is it just an even? Because when I'm looking at this, without having any information, it looks like it's gotta be close to the same amount every week. Or is it done on actual hours worked?
No, it's pretty much done every week the same. Because it changes a lot. I mean, sometimes it changes during the day, different. So it's always been just the whole deep public works working together on whatever needs to be done. And I mean, that's how we've always done it.
Oh, I get it.
And that's how that, I gave you that piece of paper. Do they have, okay.
Well, I see that Lynn does, but
I forgot I gave it to you. But I simplified the form that the select board had as far as how it's broken down, but the only thing that changes on it is where we don't have the stormwater, we do not have any employees in the stormwater. That's a brand new enterprise, only a year and a half old.
Got my
And there are no employees for that, but any stormwater work that we do, no matter who it is, gets charged to that wage line item.
so they're taken out of the line item they would have been and charged to that one.
Right.
Yeah.
So they start off in one side or the other, and then you push them wherever they gotta go.
Yeah, well, some of the guys, there's 2 full-time, 40 hours a week sewer workers.
Okay,
And then there's a couple of guys that are 50-50 sewer workers and
okay.
highway. And that's, their salary is paid that way.
And then when you need them, you just push them to where they gotta go and adjust it
Yeah, and
accordingly.
like the water department, all the guys in the water department that we have right now are all operators at the plant.
Okay.
So we don't have any equipment operators, we don't have any, truck drivers for the water department. So if there's a water issue, it's all hands on deck right off the bat, no matter who it is. And same with the sewer problem. It's just always been done that way since I've been in town, and it's been a long time.
One of the questions I had is whether or not we're splitting hairs that just really don't matter. Because when I look at the expenditures on the sewer side, right, I saw something that amounts to close, just to pay for the water treatment is $600,000, right? And then the expenditures are probably, I don't know, roughly another 200,000, just, expenses. And then I think, what's payroll relative to that?
You got that right there, right in front of you.
So, but
I
I
wasn't
kept
able
it
to
as the
exactly
enterprise
figure that, 'cause
fund.
that's in many
I did not
buckets.
separate by sewer and water because it's an enterprise fund of one, right? In
Yeah,
what
I'm
I put
just,
together
like,
for you.
order of
today.
magnitude, right? Are
Yeah.
we talking about, like, the
So
expenses are like
that-
almost $1 million, right? And then the wages are 100, and so now it, whether you're, 100% accurate with the wages, is really not gonna affect the rates, because the rates are set by your expenses, which are huge, right? So, that's what I'm trying to figure out, right? The degree to which we need to care about exactly making sure that the personnel is allocated correctly has to do with how important that division is in determining the rates. And if it's not important, we should make sure it functions, but other than that, I'm not sure that we should be splitting those hairs.
And so, yes, I think that's true. So like he said, DPW personnel sometimes move over to water and sewer if he has a break or something,
Sure, but
right?
can you
it's
just
not-
give me a
yes,
rough
So,
idea?
with your spreadsheet that I prepared these two, so let's just pass these out and see if this helps answer.
I think I'm looking at it, right? That's the same
No,
thing?
sure.
No, this is another
This is, you had asked for some
Okay,
breakout
great.
on it. So, yeah, pass that around and I think it will.
Take one and pass it.
Hold on, pass it around. Is this a quiz?
Pop quiz.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, from the spreadsheet that was emailed to me, with the request,
Oh,
this
right,
is what I put together, thinking that I
Oh,
would
okay, got it.
answer your
Great,
questions.
yeah.
But, so it's DPW, I pulled out DPW for the last 2 years, and then the second page is water and sewer. Now, it is a combination of water and sewer, so that, you know, if you look over here in the square, the water and sewer labor is 583 and the expenses are 1,000,009 that, for the last year. So if that's what you're asking for, I think that's helpful to see that, yeah, labor is a much smaller percentage of costs.
It is still
Significant.
significant, 25%.
Yes.
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 So, but you're talking about things that they'd have to be way off to really have a significant impact on. So, okay, good, this is excellent context.
So one could even think the other way. Are we not collecting enough in water and sewer to cover? Is DPW offsetting that too? And I understand it's easy to, it's the way we always been, but I think we're getting to the point where because we have a water sewer enterprise and the rates have increased, that I know they didn't this year, but it was 10 and then 15%, I think. And what
15%
the last time, and I think it was 10 or something like that before, the year before. So I think we just, are things in the right bucket? Is there a way to figure out what the payroll is? Because I don't, just knowing the questions that are coming from the residents, I'm not sure that we're answering that here by saying, I think it's,
Well, I think overall, I mean, the procedure you're telling us makes sense, right? People are keeping their time on the right account for the day that they're working it. Is there an
that's not what I
adjustment?
heard.
That's not what I heard.
No, oh, okay,
That- For the stormwater stuff, that one's separated out because
Okay.
there's a line item for wages for stormwater, but there are no employees.
okay.
There's no full or part-time
Well, I-
employees assigned to the stormwater,
So for that,
like there is for water and sewer.
so for that, you adjust on a weekly basis based on the hours.
For the stormwater.
For
And
stormwater.
then water and sewer, water guys are just, like I said, they're just water operators. There's nobody split in the water side.
Yes.
There's only a couple of people split in the sewer side.
So to clarify, so if they're on the water side, but it's all hands on deck because there's a sewer problem, they're working on the sewer problem, but their salary isn't being allocated back to sewer because they're water.
Water and sewer is the same thing, though,
I mean,
right?
I'm
No, it
sorry,
isn't.
DPW.
Well, no,
saying
DPW
yes,
is
they
what I
had
meant,
to-
I'm sorry.
They had to combine the enterprise a couple of years ago because of the
No,
money issues,
no,
I guess.
and I
but-
meant to say
You mean just
DPW,
said
I'm sorry.
DPW, that's why, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I guess like, just to, I think your question was, if you have an all hands on deck on the water plant, then you use DPW, how is that something that shows up on the books, or it just happens and?
No,
you know?
they get paid as a DPW worker for their 40 hours or whatever hours are. And the same goes in the wintertime. Sewer people plow snow, the water guys don't, as they were able to finagle that out of their contract. But the sewer workers, we haven't let them get out of it yet because
But that hits snow and
we
ice.
need them.
That hits snow and ice though, right?
Overtime would, yes.
Overtime breaks up
Most
into snow
definitely,
and ice,
most
but-
definitely.
Overtime, not snow and ice regular?
Right.
So they could be in for a shift, but it snowed during the day, so it's still going to DPW, but it's really ice and snow.
Or
and ice.
to sewer and water and sewer enterprise.
Definitely
We've got a
overtime
tangle of spaghetti,
in
I
snow
think.
and
Yeah,
So, I guess where the question's going is, do you have any idea of the order of magnitude of going from the DPW guys to helping them? Is it 5% of their time, do you think, or 10% of that?
really hard to say.
I know, that's what everybody's asking
We
us.
do something different every day, sometimes 2 or 3 things, and It's who's here today and who's the equipment operator available today and.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean?
To me, it becomes more of a management question, right? Because if you feel like you don't have enough resources somewhere, what do? You're gonna pull them from where you need
You're
them.
gonna
Like if
make it
there's a
happen.
water emergency, you're
Prioritize.
gonna grab them from
Let's-
DPW. And so I hate for us to tie his hands, right? Like that would be not
Oh,
smart.
no,
So-
but,
so,
well, he
like-
needs more water and sewer operators, or, I mean,
He needs more
equipment
people.
operators, more people. But,
Right, but I think the way it's set up right now, it gives the flexibility that maybe is needed in the way that we're structured right now to allow him to allow all these things to happen, plowing and the water emergency happens, the DPW comes over, right? There's flexibility in that that's useful. It clouds the financial picture a little bit, but then if you were if you asked for, all right, we're gonna draw lines, we're gonna have black lines between all these departments, it's gonna be super obvious what everybody's spending, but now what do you do when we've got a water issue, right?
well,
You
yeah,
can't-
well, it's gonna be a lot of bookkeeping.
Right, so that's the question.
Point, when do they would they do a five-day time card and just say, you could even have it divided out like 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and just, DPW, water, I mean, I know it's a pain in the neck, but.
Yeah, I'm just asking, the question is that worth it in the grand scheme of things, given the fact that it's 25% of the total bill? And then, do we really feel like there's equity, right? Like the DPW guys come over in the summertime to help with the water, in the wintertime the sewer guys come and help plow. I don't know, right? Like, are we really, is there something there?
Well,
But if you're paying a sewer bill, you don't wanna hear that you're paying for those sewer guys who are now working for DPW.
You don't wanna hear that, but at the same time, you'd hate to not have the DPW guys help out to make sure your water's on.
I'm not saying that, I'm not saying
So,
that. What
I
I'm
think-
saying is I think what this taxpayer was asking was to make sure that it's a clear picture as to what we need to do water and sewer and what we need to do DPW.
I think we have an idea of that.
Chris, without a doubt, is doing a great job juggling.
Yep.
But I think what this taxpayer wants to know is, what do we need to run a DPW? What do we need to run the water and sewer?
Well, I think we have an answer to how these people get switched around and what they do. Whether that's
table
acceptable,
stays.
but that's not, we know where it
Right.
goes.
Right.
And I'm satisfied with that, they're doing their thing. That's a management decision that the town's gonna have to make, the selectmen and all that, or that's not anything to do with us. We have an answer for how it is right now. I agree with you that
I don't think we gave an answer, but that's okay.
Well, I
I'm
think
fine.
the
I don't pay the
answer
bill,
is,
so I don't care.
the answer.
I don't care.
The answer
Just
is,
off the end.
it's likely a wash. We could do the research to find out if it's not. We could find out that DPW is being shorted. We could find out that water and sewer is being shorted. And that maybe the rate's too low. That's what you just brought up.
Right.
and that's what that
Business as
person wants to know.
usual is going on the assumption that it is a wash. I mean, one other scenario is that we hire more people and these guys never do that and these guys never do that. And that's probably a waste of money that we ought to be more ashamed of than the fact that
Yeah,
the
right on
wash
the head, Ted.
might not be exactly correct.
If I had 2 or 3 more staff on the highway side, we wouldn't need as much help from, there's 90 miles of road in town, there's 30 miles of sewer, there's 50 miles of water line.
Yeah, but now you're paying.
Hey,
And that's
it's-
what I'm saying,
yes.
is I think that not only was she looking for, this taxpayer, not only was she looking to see how this was, but to make sure that you also had the appropriate staffing levels to do what you needed to do, and I think you can say that you need more.
You understand that we don't. And
Yeah, I
that's
do.
why it works as a public works, it's all under one umbrella,
But-
and
Well, it even
General
gets,
fund's
it
not
even gets
necessarily
more
paying
interesting. Chris has one backhoe. I don't know who owns it, or technically whose it is, but if it goes to water and sewer, I mean, there's a whole bunch of
Yeah,
different.
but that gets through internal charges in general.
yeah, I'm not even sure, because I wasn't involved in the purchase of that, but there could have been some
Yeah, but I
water
mean, you know, the
enterprise money and
equipment wise,
sewer
who knows
when
how
that was
that's all
purchased,
sorted out.
but I don't know, it's old now.
It's a capital purchase, it's.
I know,
it's
like,
depreciated, like, it probably.
Water and
shows up
sewer
as
is
a-
their own little world. And it doesn't cross. Unless, you know, there's a huge water main broken in the center of town, but nothing, they have their own equipment, they have their own trucks, they have their own
We
everything.
have some trucks, but
Yeah.
as far as the heavy equipment,
Yeah.
that's shared.
And but Holden's got that heavy equipment on
everybody,
it,
you
right?
know.
So it's hard. So what other questions can we ask that we know what's going on? What other questions can we ask what would you like to know more?
I don't pay the bill, so I don't care.
So
I just don't think
one-
we've answered the
One of the
taxpayer.
concerns that I heard come through from the taxpayer side is that are the water and sewer customers in town, which I am one of, are we subsidizing
DPW.
the DPW and essentially being like a selected tax on some residents that are on sewer to help with DPW expenses that really should be spread all across the town? And I don't hear that in your explanation. I hear that you're doing the best with your limited resources to allocate your personnel as best as possible on a day-to-day basis, which is exactly what we want to have happen, right? We don't wanna have 3 people sitting on their hands because they're paid for water, but water's running great today, so guess what? You're sitting on your hands.
I don't think anyone would be sitting on their hands.
No.
I'm not saying, I'm
No,
just
but you know,
saying, right,
right,
like,
I know what he
that's
means
not
though.
the.
You could possibly, you could possibly have the shiniest sewer manholes in town if you can't use those guys to mow the common on a Friday afternoon when it needs to be done.
There you
But
go, right.
When you know, it's
No, and I think
just,
we
We could have every
want that
freshly painted hydrants
flexibility,
everywhere in
right?
town if we
Yeah,
didn't mow the
yeah.
grass.
you know, it's,
Plow the snow in the winter or whatever, you know, so.
We need that
very rarely would they ever have nothing to do, so they would be sitting around, that's for sure. There's
I guess one of the
something,
questions
yeah.
that-
I'm just saying, like, if we compartmentalize everything, that just introduces inefficiency. You've got similar skills across your staff, and it's good to do it that way, that's all.
Until you have enough money to have your own water and sewer department with everything that they need, they can go, what else would you do?
I think the answer that I'm hearing is we need to be able to tell the taxpayer that asks this question, that it is a set percentage every single week that gets put into the payroll, regardless of what they actually do. We're thinking that potentially it washes at the end of the year, one way or the other. One year it might be this way and one year it might be the other. But in the end, it's a set rate every single week. It doesn't vary based upon what they actually do.
And there's not a chronic subsidizing of DPW work from the water sewer enterprise.
But how do we know that if we're not accounting for time? That's what
Because
I'm
we
saying.
can at least
That's a
identify-
solution that we could.
Because we can
implement.
identify activities that go both ways, right? If there's a
There
water
are
emergency,
activities, but the
works
length
people
and
come in and
breadth
help
of
with the
those-
water emergency. If there's a snow emergency, it comes the other way, right? So I think we can identify that there's activities going both ways. That's what tells me that
I guess
it's
the
not
only-
chronic one way.
We can request Donna and Chris to come up with a percentage of these guys' time during the course of a year that they go the other way. I don't know how
I
else to
think
do
we
it,
just
right?
now can answer that it's a set amount.
It's a set amount. I
I
think
mean,
that's the answer.
we can give that answer, that's all we have the capability of doing. Last week, you had, or last time we got together, you had done a rough-up of a mechanism that could be used by these guys to track the expenses
I think
if they wanted
This is kind of.
to
Right,
do that.
so-
Well, I mean, the labor expenses, cause this,
labor, yeah.
this does that.
Except
Very
it
well.
just groups the labor together on
I,
this.
so in my mind, it's between you guys, the selectman and the town administrator, as to whether or not you think you need to go that route. I don't think we, as a finance committee, can say, you guys have to do that. We can look at it and say the answer that you were just
We
talking
have
about.
we have the answer to the question
I agree,
the best we can.
right,
Plus it only affects 25% of the total bill, so that's,
25%'s a large chunk.
but it would have to be off 100% in order to affect the 25%, and it's not. There's just no way.
You know, I just look at it as, I know how big those sewer and water bills are for a lot of people. And I know that if it could go down a little bit, that might make people happier, I don't know. But I just think, I
It's
also look at,
also-
I look at the other way, is Chris needs more help in DPW, and there is a potential that water and sewer is helping to pay for the DPW sometimes.
And there's also lots of improvements that need to be made in the infrastructure, the water and sewer lines.
And
And
regular
now
town
there's
infrastructure.
That too, so
Right, that's the whole thing. I mean, that's the whole thing. I look
I
at
hate to
this as
say it,
a
but I
much
don't
bigger
see the
thing.
rates dropping for a long time.
Oh, they won't ever drop.
Nothing seems to ever
We
drop.
get,
You know,
It's never gonna go
because
we
down.
have one or two of those things like we had on Main Street
Oh,
that
yeah,
week,
that-
you know, that, and it's
that kills
not getting
us.
any, it's bad.
And it's no different than the regular town infrastructure needs help.
Absolutely.
I have a curious question. So the town as a whole incurs water and sewer rates or bills because of the town buildings and whatnot, general, not to residents, not to buildings, but, or commercial, but our buildings. How does that get accounted for in our,
It's exactly like any other bill.
do we get a bill?
We generate it, yes,
Bill.
yes, we do. And we pay ourselves from whatever that department is, yep, but it goes to the water and sewer, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
All the town buildings have an account, a meter, they're all red, including my building,
And they have the same rates.
Yep, just
everybody gets one.
in case that question comes up, we know that
You know that
there is a
answer.
bill and it gets paid by the
So it's
town
not
as a
still
whole.
working. Tamika,
I think it is.
I'd rather it didn't, but. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions for, and Chris and Donna, go ahead, through the chair, go ahead.
Harry Sackman, 13 Beechwood Drive. Chris, I'm looking at the breakout that you gave us, and you said that water does not have any carryover. They're not working on the roads, they're not driving trucks. It's water, not sewer, right?
Yeah, water guys, they mostly spend all their time at the plant because
Okay.
we're short one of them. We're short one, and it's a 7-day-a-week project.
The reason I ask is right now I'm looking at a quote here, wages of $356,000. That has no bearing on crossover whatsoever. In other words, we're not.
I don't think so on the water.
Okay.
Because they, like I said, they only do water.
So the sewer crossover then would be 273, so that's really the number we should be looking at. Is the 273, if there's any carryover versus 567 on regular road workers. So I guess in my mind, I'm thinking if 356,000 out of the budget or out of the wages summary has nothing to do with the balance between one or the other, how much are we really talking about percentage-wise where you're flipping back and forth? You're not talking about the whole million or 800,000 on labor, nothing like that. So I just wanted to clarify that it was water has no carryover. Okay, thanks.
Chris, looking at the payroll certification that we also had received through some place, I don't see, I see a vacancy for a temporary laborer, equipment operator, lab sewer for highway, so those are both highways, a mechanic for highway and sewer. Are you saying that there's a water vacancy as well?
Yeah,
That's
there's a
not on
water
this.
operator vacancy that has
So
been
that should
since
be added to.
Dan left.
I was gonna
in
say.
almost a year.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. You had one for
The
a very short.
temporary, well, that was like summer help, the temporary labor, and it was
Yeah,
just
this is a
still
whole,
on.
this is
We
a
haven't
whole
had that
year of positions
that
in the
was a-
town.
wrap money or something that paid for that. We had enough one year, a few years ago, for 2 people, but we only had one, so it carried over and we got some summer help.
Excellent, thank you.
But he saw that coming over and got a real job.
Real job.
I think he went to work at Amazon or something.
Cause that's a good career move.
Does anyone have any other,
Money than we can afford.
any questions or any comments related to this specific issue at this time? Perfect,
Thank you.
thank you very much, as everybody's, we do appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
I hope we answered your questions.
At least you got, you put us, we can give an answer to the question as far as the finance committee. And we, that's the management decision that someone else is gonna have to make, in my opinion, but I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to somehow formally reply to that request for that information? Send a letter? Or
We can, I'll work with Tamika, and before she sends it out, we can all just take a quick peek at it, or if someone in this group would like to write it, that would be fine.
Paragraph.
Yeah, just a quick paragraph that we can send to, okay. Just run it by everybody.
Should it go to the select board? I think that's how the chain of email went. It was sent to this, to
Did it
Chris
go
and
from
the
the
select
select
board
board
and
to the
then
select board?
forwarded to
Yeah,
us.
I think it should, however it came to
This is
us,
what
we'll
we
go
had
back that way.
conversation, yeah.
I think the original request went to Austin. He sent her some information.
I was gonna say, I think Jane's came to both.
And then,
Both of us.
right,
I think the original one, I think, came to both of us.
Perfect. I'm good with that. Does anyone have any, before we go on to tonight's agenda, the rest of tonight's agenda, does anyone have anything? Alright, let's talk about, the meeting minutes for July 17th.
Thank you. Hi, Chris.
good evening.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Do we have, a motion to accept the meeting minutes for July 17th?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for the meeting of July 17th.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Alright, do we have discussion on that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I disagree with how it's written. Karen expressed that the process was not followed by the former town administrator. I would like it to read that Karen read the paragraphs from the TA bylaw and then indicated that the process was not followed.
Alright, where are you looking before we, second page, first page?
First page.
First page,
And we started talking about the finance committee bylaw. Karen expressed the process was not followed by the former town administrator. I admit I said that, but after I read the paragraphs from the TA bylaw, and Ludwig then agreed with the same thing.
so how do we change it, cause I would agree with what you're saying. Okay, how would you like it changed? To say,
I just wrote it down.
Yeah.
I wrote down what she just said.
That's the only thing, that's,
we'll just make that correction, cause that's more what, it's more precise.
So I need to change my motion?
Nope,
yes.
we just have to have an amendment to that. Why do we have to even have a change to the motion if we're just,
With corrections.
My motion would
Be
be
with-
accepted based,
With the
with the
correction.
correction.
okay,
Second.
okay. You're doing that and Carol seconded it.
I just have, this is more of a nitpicky thing. I don't think Karen voted nay to adjourn.
Oh, man.
She wanted to
She
stay.
voted nay for the roll
Right.
call. She didn't, did you wanna stay, Karen, that night?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
I
do.
thought so. Alright, we'll just change that
See that.
as well. That was unanimous to adjourn. That was a roll call. Since we have everybody here, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Anybody opposed? Unanimously carried. Okay, perfect. Alright. The second item is the reserve fund transfer request. Instead, annual dues, just a, housekeeping thing, I did go up on Monday after our meeting and sign that transfer that we agreed on, make the process that we were all set, so everybody, we're all on the same page.
That was for the Nick, for the treasurer collector.
Correct.
Aaron, if I can, when I was processing the bills, yesterday, I realized that the dues are 201
That's what I was looking up.
and not 200. So when you make your motion, if you could make it for 201, the form I gave Darren does have the correct number on it. So if it's approved and signed, that form can be given to Donna and then she can process the payment on the warrant.
Yep, 201.
That dollar makes a big difference to a company, right?
Well, it's gonna make a big difference
Which
to
for
them.
us it would,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can cover it.
You got it.
But then you gotta
I
go
was
to the
ready to
select
take up
board
an
to get the
offering. I don't
gift
know.
accepted and all that, you know?
All right, so can I have a motion to take this $201?
Make them,
Go ahead.
I make the motion that $201 comes out of the reserve fund to pay for the Association of Town Finance Committees.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. For this $201. Does anyone have any discussion they'd like to make about this? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. All right. That's done. I'll sign that in a minute. Tamika, you could have that back. Financial policy. Review current financial policy, discussion to possible additions and revisions. We have copies of the financial policy. I think everybody has access to it. Who wants to kick this one off?
I believe when this came into effect on 4/2004, it was, we didn't need to approve this as this was a policy. And the policies are handled by the select board.
Okay,
In the past, we used to sign off on the financial policies of the town, so that I don't ever recall us even having this in the past to discuss. Does anyone else remember?
I have that copy.
That's the one I have, which was way back when. And it's now 50 pages.
This is the one we were asked to review last year, at the annual review.
That's the
I
last
haven't
time
seen
I
it.
saw it.
Right, okay, this is the one that we're now discussing. And that's the reason why I was like, this was something that was said, this is a policy, and the policy boards are the select board.
so is there the one that Ted has and that one are dramatically different? Besides 40 more pages?
I don't know, I
haven't compared them.
I mean,
Now that
I
it's-
don't,
So should we table this to go through it, or does it matter? A policy is,
Well, I think
give me some direction.
last meeting, when Jen was here, and we were discussing the fact that there were a few bills that got missed along the way,
potentially
there was
miss.
some discussion about should there be some policy in place so that that wouldn't happen? So I guess what I was thinking was somebody needs to go through, whether it's that or this, and say, oh yeah, that's not there, or that's there, it should have been done differently, and
I think we're almost at the point where
Unclear.
we actually wanna see the procedures that come from the policy. Right, I think I'm gonna review this document, but it sounds like a very much it's a policy, and it is, this is how we're gonna manage debt. this is what we're gonna do for financial reserves, this is how we're gonna do forecasting. It doesn't say like the procedure for purchasing
Or,
$100 worth of supplies is this, and if you need to place a PO for $15,000, this is how you do that. And
There is
it's
no PO
registered
system.
here, and we understand that there's an open commitment for $15,000, right?
so is that true? There is no PO system?
So, no, that's not true. That's one of those answers, yes and no, right? So there, on March 3rd, Austin asked the board to I don't know that I can remember the exact wording, but to bring it back to life, if you will, that it had, because it had, the purchase order policy died pretty much when Margaret left. It was never here, well, since I've been here. And then COVID happened too, and everything changed, right, with COVID. But with that said, Austin asked on March 3rd at the Board of Selectmen's meeting if they would vote to reaffirm, I think is the word I'm looking for, reaffirm this policy, and they did. And in that, the purchase order module was purchased through Vadar.
Okay.
So it's there. Austin and I had hoped for a soft start on purchase orders on April 1st. The implementation through Vadar was delayed, and that wouldn't have been possible before May 1st. And then Austin resigned and left, and we're here with an interim. We were thinking that the hard start would be July 1st, the new fiscal year. So it's not implemented. It's not something I can, it's not a pair of stairs I can drive alone, right? It has to be with the town administrator, and so it's kind of stagnant right now.
But at least there is one.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure exists to implement it, it's just not
There,
it's not there yet. So is this, we're amongst all the things, because the town administrator is part-time, right? So is this on the radar or not on the radar? Because I think it would give important visibility into our commitments, right?
So,
And anticipated bills due.
no,
It's talking, I'm sorry, it's just hard to hear him.
David, do you have something to say, excuse me?
First I heard of this was at the last meeting, and we didn't know whether there was a module from VDOT to do the PO. We had mentioned, we had talked about a PO system, but no one had spoken about it until the last meeting, and
Thank you.
it wasn't expressed to me that that was something we should be working on right now. So if that's something we need to do, then we'll do it.
I don't think that's for us to say. I'm just trying to understand, is it on your radar to be implemented? Because I think, and the select board may also have some input into this, right?
so I think the implementation, it's at a standstill, I think, until
What's involved? I don't know if it's like just, here's a procedure, follow it, or is it like a giant clunk in
so
the
what's
financial
involved is
machinery?
department head can't even make an order without a purchase order, and so then the town administrator needs to approve it. So it's a lot more paperwork, and it's a lot more time involved for a town administrator.
Can we set a procedure that says like, don't use purchase orders below X dollars to like alleviate some of the administrative burden?
Currently there is a policy that was ratified or reaffirmed by the select board on March 3rd.
On the amount above which you need to purchase.
No, the
order?
amount was is 1,000.
It's 1,000.
Could you send us that policy?
Or
Or
is
send
in
it to
this?
Tamika, and Tamika can send it to us, just so that we can see it?
Well, Tamika must have it. It was at the Board of Selectmen's meeting on March 3rd. I'm assuming you must have it. It happened at the Selectmen's meeting, March 3rd, 2025.
So
Is
it would be in the meeting minutes.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was a policy. I think they just chose an amount and voted on it.
No, it was a policy that he was asking to be reaffirmed.
Oh, all right, then I'll
Yeah.
have to figure out what it's called, but I'm sure I can find it.
Purchase order policy.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it hasn't been conveyed to the department heads yet.
Well, there were some discussions on it. It wasn't received extremely excitingly. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just,
So I guess I have a question. Karen's got a 50-pager, Ed's got a, maybe the same, no, I don't think it's as many pages.
No, that's the one that
This
was
is
done.
19.
This is,
That's-
okay,
so
I have
what's the-
mine, this is dated October 5th, 2023. That's
Yep.
what the last one we saw.
And then this was, right, that was done.
So I guess what do we,
Done.
what, I guess my question is, which
Or
one
when
are
we
we
received
using?
it.
Which one are we using?
Effective date is April 29th, 2024. The one that Tamika put in the shared drive is the,
I-
is
And
definitely
that's
the one.
that one or this
The
one?
That's
50
this
pager.
one, that's the
big one.
50 pager.
The big mamma jamma.
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't remember seeing, I don't recall ever seeing this one. Doesn't mean we didn't, but I don't recall.
I don't.
I have homework to do, right? But the purchase order is not talked about in there, right? So
I don't know, I'm not
It's not.
looking at what you have, so I'm not
No, no,
saying
no,
it is or
it's-
isn't there,
I
yeah,
did a word search,
yeah, okay.
purchase order
I-
came up
I
empty, so.
glanced last night and I didn't see anything.
So I think what Austin had, the selectman what was a policy he found from Margaret, that was, I agree, maybe we need some more work to intertwine it, right, but what went to the selectmen's meeting March 3rd was something he found,
And
that
it essentially
Margaret had
said,
established. But she wasn't
purchasing
using
above
it, sorry.
$1,000 should require a purchase order, right?
Yeah,
That's what, and
before.
in effect, that's what you reaffirm, what the select board reaffirmed, right? So, and now we haven't implemented yet, although the backbone of the infrastructure is there to be able to do that.
So here's another question, I guess, in relation to that. So once we get, if there's a policy and once it's actually implemented, and whether people are on board or not, it's implemented, they have to do it. So then is there a policy then on what happens after? I'm assuming if the purchase order's not there, it doesn't get paid.
Right, so the process is that, it will change, so currently we have a cover sheet when payments are requested and they come to me, and it's right now just the vendor, the account number, invoice and amount. It will have to add a purchase order number on it as well. So the purchase orders would be approved by the
TA.
thank you, and then that purchase order number would probably for
Check back to
me
whatever.
be given back to the department head to say that this has been approved. But purchase orders are before the approval, right? Not when the invoice comes. And there were certain exclusions within that the March 3rd meeting talks about. It's electricity. I'm sorry, I don't remember what
Utilities
they
would
are.
make sense, yeah.
The health insurance, though,
Yeah.
there are certain reasonable exclusions.
And most importantly, once that purchase order is approved and issued, while the work is going on, we know that we've committed that money.
Yes.
That's really the purpose of it, right?
Yes.
And that's why I'm worried about it, right? I wanna
Committed,
see those committed
money and then
dollars.
follow through with it at the end, so it's.
Right, like,
So
we
you've
don't
got an
wanna
open-
think like, oh, look, this account has X amount of money, but
It should
there's
be able
work
to
going
tell.
on right now, and there's gonna be a bill next week that's for 20 grand, and that money is gone, right? So I wanna see that
The
commitment.
missing PO, that
It
would,
makes it harder for you to
Missing
manage
invoice, yeah.
the money.
So
If there
we
was a-
first and foremost, we have to make sure that we say this. Donna, that invoice that was brought up last time was appropriated appropriately through ARPA. There was no missing invoice that was going to remain unpaid, is that correct?
That is correct, and so I
That's
do
what I
have
wanted
some
to make sure.
very good news on that as well. Even though the project was done in September, this is working through an architect and engineer. We paid a lot of money for
Mm-hmm.
those two roofs to be, and the engineer, the email on the April 30th was the actual first time it came through for the requisition 2 and 3. So that invoice was not unpaid since September. I do have it if you certainly want to look at it, but when the architect signs, you maybe know, that when they sign off certifying the project is done, there's a date on there. And requisition 2 was signed off somewhere around April 8th, but on the April 30th email that we received requisition 3, he said, I redid 2, so he had made a mistake with 2, so there was a hold on 2. Not payment on April 30th, I think is completely my fault. Austin had emailed it to me, asked me if we had paid 2 and 3. I said no, and I think he assumed I would put it on a cover sheet. I assumed he did. Town meeting happened, and then I went off to Florida to take care of my sister that was having cancer, and that was just a human mistake. But it was only since April 30th.
It's still allocated against our ARPA funds. It's not gonna come out of the general
It's
fund.
not coming out of anything else.
Right, exactly, which was the whole big,
But
we
this
did
ties
last
back,
meeting, so I
this
wanted to
ties
just make
back to
sure.
the purchase order, and then all that stuff can bring it all together, so she
Well,
doesn't, you have a
the
double
purchase
check.
order wouldn't have fixed that.
Well,
It
you-
didn't get on a warrant. You know what I
No,
mean?
but at least we would have known that there was a bill coming.
And unfortunately, I was away for a few days, and so yes, yeah.
No.
But you would have seen it out there that there was something outstanding.
And we would have known that it was a purchase order against ARPA, did I say that right? ARPA,
Yes. Yep.
ARPA
Yep.
funds, right?
Yep.
And like this, a lot of the excitement that we had could have been averted by
For sure.
just
for
seeing
sure.
that.
I think what
Holy
happened, I
short
think
commitment.
it was, let's go back a step, I think that you are correct. But I think the concern was there till Donna was away on vacation, and we said when she gets back, we're good.
No, and I know that, but I just wanna make sure if anyone watched our last meeting, that we
No,
clear it up so that
no,
it's,
That's very good.
but
that's the whole thing.
We alleviated.
That's all I care about, is that now it's out in, the atmosphere that
we-
everything's fine, and don't panic, there's not millions of dollars that have been spent, and we don't have any idea where we're paying it from.
But the point also is, if our purchase order system had been in place, we could have seen that commitment was
Yes.
against
It would-
ARPA, and it would have just never gotten
And
done.
then 2, anytime there's a deviation, so if we put out a PO for 28,000 and it comes in for 32, then we have, well, who authorized that and all those kinds of things versus.
Also, if we have a PO for 32 and it comes in for 28, that PO needs to be changed. So this is a great deal more work for my office as well as the town administrator's office. I'm just throwing that out there for,
But it should be all electronic, I would think.
it is, well, but I have to manually then go in and change. So no, that, it's not, it doesn't manually close out the PO because the PO system is not gonna know if there's another invoice. Right?
but you-
Only human
And
is,
you can't
only
click-
human is gonna
But you
know.
can't click close PO when you do the PO, when you do the invoice?
No, they have to go back into the PO module.
Yeah, so you have to reissue a revised PO for the right invoice, then that, it has
Because
to
in
get paid
mine,
against the right
we
invoice.
issue the PO if it's less, and we get told by whatever handles it, then we just manually close the PO when we're doing the invoice.
Right, but I think what you're saying is that you have to revise the PO.
I do.
before-
The municipal finance, it is much different than the real world, but.
In municipal
But
finance,
I'm not trying to discourage using it, I'm just explaining that is there.
is municipal finance, is a PO issued, is that is that like a contract like it is in private industry, in
Should be.
municipal?
Yep.
It is.
PO is a PO.
Well,
Well,
there are,
I'm surprised we get major work done without issuing a PO.
and so there are certain times we do manual POs because it is a requirement of certain, so there are certain times when there are significant amounts to order the fire truck or the ambulance or a truck. Those companies do typically, and the town administrator and the.
It's a
and the town
contract.
will sign it, yeah.
It's part of a contract and it's.
Purchase order in and of itself is a contract.
Yes, and it will stand up in court. Alright, so
So
I
there-
just didn't know if municipal government did the same thing as private industry. Cause I know it is in private industry.
So looking at the minutes from March 3rd, it said that that Austin made the board aware that there was a financial policy from 2017, and the board agreed, as you said, to refresh it. Actually, they want to refresh it. They're going to utilize and enforce it, but they also talked about refreshing it. So I don't know if that's still on their to-do list, but there is a policy somewhere that we could ask to see.
I guess I wanna know which one, the Whamma Jamma or the little one?
Well, that's not the financial policy.
She's talking about
About
the
the
purchase
actual
order.
purchase orders.
Right, but which one are we doing?
The one that's active is the one that was put in front of us, but that doesn't deal with the purchase order, so there's
Yeah.
a separate thing that we haven't even seen.
As you
Yes.
said, there's policies and then there's procedures to back up those policies, so.
Okay. Does anybody got anything else related to this little Whamma Jamma? I'll stop over and get a copy of that and put it in my little binder of things that I should have.
It's not really in our purview to make a recommendation of how to prioritize this. Right, implementation, is it?
I think the
We
selectmen.
can make as many recommendations as we want.
Okay, that's
Whether or
true.
not they're followed,
They're
it doesn't
not-
make a difference.
Nothing binding for us to do here
Nothing
anyway.
binding, we can make some recommendations, and I think one of the recommendations that would come forth out of this meeting, and we kinda said it, is that we feel as a committee that POs are very important and should be implemented, that system should be implemented as quickly as physically possible within the scope of people that we have on staff right now. How's that? Is that a good way of saying it?
Yes.
Maybe also add to that a recommendation from you that would say like, hey, it would be a lot better if this amount was $5,000. And then like we could capture whatever, 80% of our financial commitments, but it wouldn't be such a crazy administrative chore. That might be an interesting thing for you to.
Thank you. I had originally asked for 5,000, so.
I'm just, yeah, I'm looking at the overall budget, right, and I'm like,
$1,000 is a good dinner with my
it's a lot,
family.
it's a lot of money, right?
But we can burn
um,
through that with a couple family members.
So then what
Hey, dinner.
happens, so say smaller bills, let's say, you know, if it was under 5,000, or even if it was
Under 1,000.
under that, if it was 999. So what happens to those bills? The department head approves them?
Yes, and they would have to. When they're approving bills, they're certifying that the goods and services have been received, and that's what their signature is, and, you know, and then it's processed, yes, correct.
They give you, for under $1,000, is there still a PO but not?
No, there wouldn't
It
be.
doesn't tie it back to anything?
Nothing,
Okay.
exactly.
Alright,
It just gets approved when it arrives.
As long as there's money left in that account.
so
Correct.
my financial people, are you happy with that? Carol?
I'm sorry, I think we should have all bills come to one single
We
email.
did talk about that last time.
I don't think that's possible or even a very good, I don't make policies, but my opinion is that is not something that would work for municipal government. The reason, the department heads are to sign off, I mean, they make the purchase and they sign off that this is within their budget. I think I would need 3 people in my staff to do, in my department, which I have 1, first of all. Secondly, there are invoices that come through now that I can't say exactly what I know what they are. You know, it's unique to DPW, it's unique to the police department. I don't see how I would know how to disperse them out. And as I appreciate.
Disperse them out, meaning
You said when they
coding
come,
them
when
to a
they,
department, or coding them to a department charge number, or not know that this one goes to DPW and that this one goes to fire?
so I wouldn't be coding them, I would be sending it to them for them to only give it back to me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
so,
But if it's charged against a PO, that problem goes away.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Cause I know in my little company of 100 people, if you don't have a PO, there's
Nothing's
rain's
happened.
coming down, it's not good. So, I don't care when you do it, and that's, and even, and it could be Darren buying windshield wash, that's $5, Darren takes a picture and send it to the person that I'm supposed to send it to, and they can look at it, they can go, that damn Darren's wasting my time, but I covered my tail fez. So, I think that's a recommendation. Does anyone have any other recommendations? I know that we talked a little bit about it, but does anyone else have anything else? Well, I think we gotta table this for our next meeting. This financial, the big one, the Whamma Jamma, and have some notes on it and come back with, as a group, and come back with some ideas. I think that would be only fair.
And that additional policy on the purchase order would be important, because you're essentially saying that you're not gonna implement it ever as currently requested by the select board because of the overhead that's required. It's just not gonna, because part-time town administrator, your own workload, it's just not gonna happen. And I think that's a lot worse than finding a number where you're comfortable implementing it and having it. And then over time, if we get a full-time town administrator, other things maybe fall into place. You know, we can bring it back down, but not doing it now and just kicking the can down the road, that's just setting us up for future failures.
Well, the other
I did
part of
not
it-
say that I would never implement it, I don't
I know,
believe I
but-
said
but
that.
it-
So I think we need to decide what is the best use of David's time, so,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the same thing, right? Like, I just don't see it happening in the near term, but I feel like that's especially.
That
in
wasn't
this
a dig on you, it was a dig on where we are in the world.
Yeah.
Not,
Don't read it that
don't
way.
take that as a, I understood what, he's very cerebral about how he's getting there, and he's not sending it to you, it's where we are in town government right now, it's difficult. So I think that maybe the selectmen are gonna have to make a policy what David's time is gonna be spent on. Because we're going, the next item is something that, item number 4 on here, that I feel important about, you know? And I think we all feel important about.
Well, and if we're gonna get a new town administrator, best case scenario, it's what, November-ish? I mean, and then that new person, he or she is gonna do nothing but the budget for the first 6 months that they're here.
So let's
I agree
ease
with
the
you.
burden a little bit, but
Exactly.
implement the purchase order policy so that
Yeah.
we don't have anything hanging out there that we don't know while we're pinching pennies to
Yeah.
try and get by.
Would
I agree with you.
if you, in your next note, could you help us with a little note that I'll sign off on it, and we'll just send it over to the selectmen recommending that we think the purchase order system should be implemented as quickly as possible.
Aren't we having a meeting with them on the 2nd about this?
2nd of September.
Second of September.
So that's quite, that's
So
another
we-
month, a
right.
month.
But it's a month.
I get it.
I think we should just bring it up.
Sorry, the Vadar though, have we just lost a year's worth or just checked a year's worth of?
no, it wasn't purchased until April of we've not lost, it was purchased in April of 2025.
So it's a
But is
separate
it- but-
module?
Yeah.
But there's a yearly fee to use it or? it's
Yeah,
not-
there is the maintenance
so
fee, yes,
In
yes.
having more modules is a higher
Yeah.
fee, so.
Yeah.
It's
And
unfortunate that we got it and we're not using it, but where we are in the world right now, I don't know.
so then about the only other question is, the department heads would have access to the purchase order module from their desks to be able to create these purchase orders.
No, they wouldn't, because when you're on the cloud, there's a user fee for all of them to have access to Vadar, so they wouldn't have access to that, so they would have to submit it.
Request the purchase
Yeah,
order from
yeah,
you for a
yeah.
certain amount, for a certain vendor.
Through the town administrator, is that how that's gonna work?
Yeah, obviously, we need to the internal, on how, the steps, yes. The
It
town
almost
administrator
seems,
and I would need
I'm
to.
gonna be blunt here, it sounds like we got a Corvette, but we don't have the keys. Like, if we don't have the keys for everybody to get into it, and Darren's kinda like caveman, but we get this nice Corvette we spend a fair amount of money on, and unfortunately, because of everything, we can't even turn the thing on and get into it.
Do they have read access?
No, they can't, in order to just use it, each user, there's a fee for every user on Vadar. It's a cloud-based system, we have no choice on that. SoftWrite, and I did hear the comment that every department had access to SoftWrite, which every department didn't. I have a list here of people who had access to SoftWrite, and the only department head besides the town administrator was Mike Moriarty. So we've never had every department head have access to the software.
Alright, let's roll this forward a little bit and say, alright, the purchase order system is implemented, people request a certain amount. purchase order is written, does the department head, can they see the impact of that purchase order that they requested on their budget?
Yeah, when I send them their reports,
Okay,
most
so it'll be in
definitely.
the report that
Yes,
says you've
yes,
got
yes.
$28,000 committed to Umpty Squat, and so your remaining balance is
It's
whatever.
almost like we got one person running an Excel spreadsheet and we're checking in with that Excel spreadsheet every time we get, how much does this thing cost us, Veda?
Well, each module is different.
What
I
would you
don't,
guess?
Well, DPW was $6,330.
What are they using it for?
water billing, sewer billing, and they enter their own bills, for the water, sewer, and DPW.
Issue their
They
own purchase
initiate the
orders.
process.
So they could do their own purchase orders because they have because they have a login?
Well, they could, but the town administrator would be the one to approve it. But yes, I see what you're saying. Yes, they definitely could.
How much is a
License?
license? Sorry,
$500
a
Per
year,
license?
per person,
per year?
per year.
Well, I'm thinking that's the best money we could spend, because by the time we have one person entering for fire and police, I mean, you've got one person that's all that person's gonna do at busy time of the year.
David, wanna say something?
David, do you have a comment?
Nope, I'm listening.
He highlighted all of a sudden, so I thought he was.
Well,
So I get a couple of questions. How many people now can access this thing?
10 people.
10.
Just 10.
Because last week, one of the things that I heard that said the sky was falling was that there were 23,000 emails sitting in the town administrator's mailbox, and only that person ever saw them, and that included billing. With this system, there's more people that are seeing those bills?
I don't know that I know how to answer that. So the emails that were discussed have nothing to do with the Vadar and the users.
it's just
Well,
unfortunate.
Well, it had to
That's what
do with
prompted
those bills,
this-
supposedly.
That's, these ideas and these conversations.
You
Well-
wouldn't have any bills hiding for more than $1,000 in those emails.
Correct.
That I like.
That doesn't mean that they would, but they still have to be processed, be requested to be processed for paid. So, I mean, there's still the capability of human error, you know. but-
Sure, but then usually at the end of the year, you run an open PO list, and you
Or
can,
monthly?
and then you,
Every week.
you know, and
We're
then you just.
quarterly and we're
But
quarterly,
even-
people check them quarterly
so-
if it's.
So we're short-staffed, we all know that, so at the end of the year, you start running it in, April, and you start looking at it, you start asking questions, we could have,
You know what you're looking for.
You know what you're looking for, and you can always say, hey, we haven't received this.
Then you
Could you
call the
reach
person,
out, could you reach out and get that invoice?
But then what you were saying too was it didn't come through for the first time we got it was April 30th
Right,
too.
so
So
it's not-
that wouldn't have been.
Yeah, it was sent on the first time we really knew it was April 30th, so it's not like.
No, it was sent on April 30th.
Right.
Okay, so it's
April
not,
30th.
No, it wasn't, but what I'm saying is that we would, the
I guess.
sky is
I
falling would
think-
be
No, but,
launched.
but in reality, I'm glad it was paid by ARPA funds, but this could have been
Could have been
something
approved.
else, and nobody has guaranteed me that there isn't something else out there, and I don't, Donna might know, but is there another sleeping whatever, giant?
I think
Sounds possible.
with the information we were given at the last meeting, we reacted to that information, that the whole discussion reacted to that.
Of course.
Not, and we didn't point fingers, we
No.
didn't do anything, we just
We
was
were just-
kinda like, oh, we gotta figure this out. So, we got that squared away,
But again, sorry, go ahead.
I think we should, through us, and I'll send it over to the selectmen, that through a motion of the finance committee, we recommend that as soon as feasibly possible, the PO system should be implemented within the Vadar system. How's that?
At possibly a recommended increased amount to facilitate implementation.
Okay.
So how many, we touched on it, and maybe I didn't hear the answer, maybe it did get answered, but how many departments have access to the Vadar system? currently?
DPW, myself, town administrator, and the treasurer collector's office. And the board of assessors, excuse me, I almost forgot them.
But we have 10 licenses, so 5 aren't being used?
No, all of them are being used. Well, the town administrator, I get at this very point are not, but that may change when if we have. That's
So
there's
police and
multiple
fire don't
people.
have access to the Vadar system?
How many people in DPW?
3.
Treasurer collector?
3.
3. Okay. How much in the assessor's office?
2.
Hey,
I don't know, I'm looking at it going, there's 2 people in the assessor's office. Why can't they share a license? Because neither one of them are going in.
I don't know if
No,
Simultaneously.
they are going in simultaneously. Actually, they really are, Karen. One works on excise and one works on the real estate and the personal property. So, no, they definitely are in at the same time.
And the 3 DPW are in there because it's water, sewer, and stormwater?
Because they do billing, meaning actual bill,
Right,
billings
yeah,
that we
exactly.
collect. Yes, yes,
Okay.
and payables and yes.
I think we have to look at this Corvette and figure out where we get some more keys. Cause we got this system, we spent a lot of money on it and it can apparently.
Spend a lot of money on it, it's not spent, it's a yearly thing that
You
we
know,
pay.
but we initially have to do it too?
Implementation, yeah.
The people that are missing on that list are fire.
Police, fire,
Senior
Probably 2
center?
each, right? Cause it's gonna be the chief,
The library, you've got,
Library.
dispatch won't need it anymore.
nope,
No.
well, they will for a year, right?
No, because it's not part of the
now it's
town.
now
They've
district,
gone.
they're a district now.
They're gone.
No, they're still part of the town for fiscal 26.
If they're already a district, why are they still?
They're a
There was a
district and they
transition
own it.
into that. Yeah, I
I keep
totally-
hearing it and I'm like, but
no,
they've already
they are
district,
saying that they
so-
are, and I think it's because of the vote. I don't know the intricacies of it. I don't know. Tamika could know, the town administrator, but they're definitely still part of the town. And through, because of the vote, it was a transition for the financial part of it, but they're definitely part of the town for 26. But I agree with you, in 27, they will not be.
I mean, you have to wonder though, I mean, can some of the smaller, like cable in the library, and can they, like clerk's office is part, there's 14
Well, you don't have the
departments.
But I figure if we look at police and fire, because they probably have pretty large bills in
You have to
general.
have 2. I would say police and fire, the chief and the administrative secretary, right? So
Or you
those-
have one and you share it.
And currently
can-
their
oh, excuse me.
administrative secretary
share.
does both.
You cannot share. Vadar will not allow you to share because the passwords change. They're automatically they have to change, and I think they tried the sharing thing at one point. But what happens is somebody shares it, and then they don't tell they change the password. They don't tell that other person, and so then the only way to get into it is to call Vadar, and they got overwhelmed with trying to manage that type of thing.
But police and fire have the same admin, so that would be one.
Why
To do
would the admin be issuing purchase orders?
I think that
The
they
chief
only
would be,
of
I
the
mean,
chief
there's gotta be
will
somebody else.
just follow up and make sure and let them know what's going on, that's all. I'm not saying entering purchase orders, like, it's like the water and sewer, right?
Yeah.
They're not,
Just being able to see it, I guess.
yes.
There's no difference between read and, like actually just.
Not for a user, no, because it's
A
cloud-based.
user is a user regardless of.
Yeah, so certainly you can put parameters into what each user can use, most definitely.
but the cost doesn't change.
The cost,
No, it's-
unfortunately, no.
And I'm gonna,
Because to me, I'm just looking at it as if the police had one license, that's a procedural thing, a policy statement that you guys have to work together, and if you change it, you have to let the other person know. I mean, I know we have,
Well, the users we're all by name. It's not just police department. The users are by name.
are you allowed to put something, is there any requirements by Vadar that it has to be a name and not a department?
yes, they do require a name. I guess you're right, it doesn't say that they could have one name and 3 people are using it, but if they have
The
these
name
problems
couldn't
with
be
it, it will.
police, the name could be
Police.
fire. I mean, I'm just,
I bet you
cause
that's in the licensing agreement, those software guys know how to write these things to make sure
Yeah,
that.
well, it's not
They
their
get
first
their money.
rodeo. Well, they already caught
They
us
were-
once, right? So
Because they wanna get as
already
much
caught us
money
once.
as they can.
Well,
and they didn't catch us, they just got overwhelmed.
you know,
Well, I'm
I'm
sure they-
thinking about rolling, you know, how this gets rolled out and how do you do anything like that where it sounds like there might be a resistance to change.
Oh, yeah.
You go in and you say, how do you do it now? Sit with them, find out and say, it's gonna be better because this is how you're gonna do it from now on. So I think it'd be also, you're gonna have to have internal departmental policy too. That's what I'm saying, kind of
But that's
talk
why
with
I
them
think-
and help
Change is
them.
scary to everybody.
Absolutely, so you,
Sometimes
That's why I
change
think-
is good, it can save time.
yeah, so, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to start a conversation with, how
Ludwig,
do you
and
do
Ludwig's
it?
point about maybe it should be 5,000 isn't the end of the
To
world.
roll it out.
Yes.
And then pull it back
Yeah,
once we
wouldn't
get
need
everything
that,
squared away.
yeah.
So maybe roll it out as 5,000 and then next.
We don't need to bury Donna with this whole mess.
No, but if
gotta
we
get it
get,
going.
if we were able to get more licenses, we wouldn't be burying her because
Well, I guess
now-
I'm kind of,
then they'd be able to create their own POs and electronically it would go to the town administrator, whether that be
Darren, the
Dave or whoever
taxpayer
else.
was sold that this VADA thing was that 2025 Corvette that got 200 miles an hour. We could do anything with it, and I'm a little disappointed, Darren, the taxpayer, that we're not using it to its full advantage. That's all. And I think that there would be a fair amount of people, I see some faces at this table that are the same way. We've been sold this thing that it'll do everything and patch on the back too. Well, let's figure it out. Not that we have extra money to do this, but we gotta figure it out, right? Cause it's something we have implemented, we're like half using it. It's, if we're even half using it, okay? Does anyone else wanna say anything about this? Lynn, anything? No? Carol? Anything? No? Okay. So this kinda ties in with number 4. And I'd like to talk, David and Donna are here. And have we made any progress towards a very preliminary, as Ludwig would say, first digit number for a, where we think we're out of line for next year?
So I can.
Not to hold you to it.
I can, thank you, I appreciate that. I can provide preliminary, so on the July 1st meeting, when I was here, I explained to you that there's 60-day revenue accruals, and then there's, new growth certification, and all of those are in the future. So, but I know we're all very anxious, and we all understand why. It totally 100% makes total sense as to why we're having this conversation earlier than we typically would have had it in any other fiscal year. So I did put together 3 different scenarios. Now, they're just for conversation, and I have a concern that it may cause more confusion. I don't know what is best for the community, because these numbers almost mean nothing, but do we want to look at them for planning? For,
What you know-
Donna and I have had this conversation on a couple different occasions, and the concern is that if we start using numbers that aren't real, then that follows us down the path that in the future, when we start getting the numbers in and they're not what we thought they were gonna be, it's gonna be problematic, because now you're saying, oh, we thought that it was X amount of dollars, but now it's X amount of dollars plus or X amount of dollars minus what we thought it was gonna be. And you set up expectations around the numbers. Numbers, once you throw them out there, they're out there. And you know, I'm not so sure that's the best approach. I'm more cautious in my approach, and I believe Donna is too, in that we'd rather give an accurate forecast, one that can be looked at and planned for on how we're going to address the bigger problem, which is if there's a deficit, how are we going to, you know, make up that deficit? Is it going to be an override? Are there
Not
going to
if.
be cuts? Are they, can we go after, you know, is there overlay reserve out there that's, well, can we, you know, get some of that money back? There's all kinds of little things that you can do, recapture, which Jen was talking about, and had made a good point and had a list of accounts that we funded through articles at town meeting that the money was never expended. It's time to recapture that money and use it for other purposes. I'm just saying this with caution.
I think what we had discussed was to talk about what the commitments are that we see, because we understand what's likely to happen. I mean, honestly, we do know, right, that the operating budget for the school district is not gonna increase by that much, but we can look at history, like, we can understand what probably is gonna happen there. We know our own town commitments. If we leave everything as is, we know what we're gonna have to pay. Right? So then the revenue side is where the uncertainty comes in, because we don't know the state support. But if we look very carefully at just those commitments, I think we can understand whether or not there's any there in terms of changing that. If we can agree that here or there is something that we can address in terms of reducing it potentially, or where it was chopped way too far up, like, now's the time that we can work on that piece. And then I know there's still gonna be a revenue piece that we don't know. But if we just like try to deal with all of it together, then it's gonna be too hard.
But David, the numbers are already out there. We've had this financial forecast that's been out there since,
Know that, and I've had it read back to me.
right.
Actually.
So,
You know.
but that's why we're saying, we know that there's a problem. It's not if. We're trying to figure out how big that problem is and start to get people aware of this sooner than later. Because we can't wait till February, March to be
No,
getting the word out.
So the numbers, so I have some good news, which is we don't get a lot of that lately, right? The revenues that we received for fiscal '25 came in very good. So I think some of the revenue numbers are gonna change, but they're not gonna change enough to cover the predicted deficits.
We knew
Right.
that,
Yep.
we knew that.
I know you did. So I'm not sure that providing this is gonna give us anything different. We are still going to be short in the 2 millions, you know, and then 4 million, and then 6 million.
Well,
right,
but
right,
it's, but the 2 million is based upon the cuts that we took this year.
Correct. That is,
Which is $1 million out of whack from where it should have been, roughly.
$1 million plus 771, because we used $771,000 of one-time revenue. So it's the million we cut plus the 771. Because I don't believe, maybe we'll be lucky and we have another 771 to use next year to pay for that. But we used one-time revenues and we took $1 million cut.
It's a problem. That's a big,
Yeah.
So David, I got a question for you. In your world, when do you think you could have, if you don't like this idea, what we're recommending, when in your world are you gonna give me an accurate number?
we're gonna, that we have a schedule that Tamika had put together relative to budget schedule in terms of how the budget will proceed step by step by step by step. Where I'm not gonna say we, because I didn't put it together, but the intent was to be talking about the final numbers in the first meeting in November. And then we have a schedule to get the the letters out to all the department heads saying, and we'll have a better sense, you know, you give guidelines and guidance when you put together a budget. You just don't hand the department head a sheet and say, fill in whatever you want. And with starting to think about that, and there was a percentage meant or put in that for, you know, salary items. And I had mentioned that I don't think that's a good idea because we don't know at this point if we're gonna have enough money to give X percentage to all of our employees. Contractually, we'll have to, but anybody else, you know, I just think, like I said, there are things that need to be tied up before we start tearing things apart.
So I do have one more very, I'm coming with a lot of good news tonight. Our free cash will be a good number with the way revenue is. I cannot, I need to close the books. I need to get into doing that. But you know, the process of the revenue definitely is higher, significantly higher than estimated. There are quite a few turnbacks. So just those two things can show there's a great deal more involved in getting a final number. But
In the neighborhood of what we had last year, kind of, sort of, maybe? Okay, that's all.
But
Yeah, I
that shouldn't
wouldn't-
even be considered for this budget. That's, I mean,
that's not, it's still
It's a
one time.
fallback.
It's just a neighborhood, that's all I want.
No, but I totally agree, and
What do we accept
I'm only
first
trying to
digit? I
help
like
us
that.
feel like we have some
Well,
good
which
news.
is
That's-
why I'm saying we were almost, I'm a firm believer in being conservative. But I think some of those numbers at top line are so conservative that we're hindering our availability, that I think we kind of gotta bump up some of those so that when we start getting the word out there, it's more of, because someone's gonna look and go, oh, it's only been 250 and 250 and 250 and 250 and 250 and 250. Come on, we know it's gonna go up.
right.
It could be 5, you don't know that, so.
Right, no, I get that. I'm all for being conservative, but I think we're too
Maybe a
conservative,
little.
excessively conservative, I think. So we have to kind of play with
If
it.
it hinders your planning, and like if our revenue numbers keep coming in a lot higher than predicted, then like we gotta think about the prediction process being flawed, because
Right.
we're trimming based on those predictions pretty darn aggressively, and it's like, we,
So
that's not good.
Right, that's the thing.
I have some bad news for you.
All right.
But you give us the good news first.
Yeah, I did. So, yes, that I certainly, all of us understand where you're coming from with that thought. The problem with municipal finance is when the revenues, when we start trying to get more realistic, and then they don't come in, then you have to cover it in the budget the next year. So if we suggest through the recap sheet that we're gonna raise 500,000, we're gonna receive, 500,000, and we receive 400,000, that $100,000 then needs to come out of your next year's budget. So it's very, very important
really
in
wouldn't-
municipal government to,
Right, but we're not looking to be realistic, we're looking to be a little less aggressively conservative.
okay.
That's the thing, that's the thing. I think I think we can see over the years that 250 is too low, that maybe we can go to, 325 and still be conservative.
Think of the inefficiency that's involved with like cutting a whole bunch and then spending it in when it becomes certified, instead of just saying like, okay, we have an orderly manner for these expenditures to occur throughout the year. I feel like that's what we're not allowing to have happen by being ultra conservative. And if that does incur a deficit that goes into the next year, it is no different than what's already happening when we have to figure out we need to raise taxes on a yearly basis anyway.
So if all good, I think we're heading in the right direction. And David, I kinda, with the committee, think that we need to know what our expenses are, kinda, sorta. And we gotta unfortunately polish that rock that's a boulder out in the yard and try to get it to a manageable thing. I know that the revenues is a real difficult thing, but I mean, that's why I think we gotta get the word out there, and that's why if we're $4 million out of whack, or we're $2 million out of whack, I'd like to know expenses, and then we gotta just start. And I think that if we can get preliminary budgets out to the departments and ask them to do their, whatever we all decide that we all get, at least we can start honing it in. Right now, maybe it's 4 million, maybe it's 2 million, maybe it's whatever million. That's all.
7.
Maybe it's 7.
We don't,
And I'd like to add here that there is not only our commitments in our expenses, which we should be able to get really close to without any, just a little forecasting, but there's also the pieces that we have let go, the buildings. We need to work with CIPC and all of those pieces that have other projects that we need to know what those are, and we need to start prioritizing them and building that into the budget too. So, that might be, if we can go this much further, we can get this done. But, the other thing is, if DPW really needs to have these people, we should know what that looks like, whether we could do it or not. We should know what their ideal staffing is, I think, what their ideal, because if we don't have if we
part of
shoot for the moon, you fall for the stars, right?
It's part of good budgeting, but it's also part of what the select board, all of us that are sort of gonna be helping to bring this ship into port, need that as a communication tool, right? Like DPW really should be funded like this, but we're funding like that, so your tax bill goes up by less.
Correct.
Recognize that, right? Like everybody is
We're in a
doing
meeting
their
room that,
share.
right, and we're in a meeting room
That's
that
leaking.
water's coming through the wall.
Yes. So, these.
You know what I'm saying?
So how much raw is in that wall,
But you know what, it's
Mold in the carpet
exactly,
and-
right, and how much now, because we haven't spent the money on building maintenance.
Exactly.
It's gonna cost us 3 times as much to correct it versus, and I mean,
one of
that's
the
the whole
newer
thing.
buildings in town, there's water coming through that wall right now.
Aren't they about to take the keys to this building away from us too, just like the Corvette?
Yeah, that too.
They may.
So we'll be meeting at 4:00 in the afternoon?
Yeah, if we don't come up with some money to help them through.
But I think we're gonna
they're gonna
have that in a lot of different departments because he cut a lot of purchase services. And so we have to make sure that,
Well, a comment came to me the other day from an anonymous member here. Every week we seem to get another
yeah,
body in town that's looking for money, because they got, and we didn't really, in Darren's humble opinion, I don't think we had a full appreciation of where the money got taken out. And I hope that everybody in this room has the same feeling. So, Donna's got some paperwork with us. Or she's got some paper, she closed her file back up, but if
Bring it.
I don't want your blessing, but I want you to know our feeling on it. And I'd like you to at least walk along with us in this path. And we're not gonna go out and do anything crazy, and if you help us with your opinions and your guidance and our guidance and with the selectmen, we're all gonna get through this. But I don't think that closing the door doesn't mean there's something bad on the other side of the door. And we need to open the door and see what it is and then figure it out and then work with it. Because sooner better than later. I think the budgets for the town departments should be hopefully way before that November, so you guys, I know it's early, but we gotta get it out there. We gotta see what everybody wants to do, and then there's a couple scenarios. This level funded that we do is not the right way to do it. It doesn't help people. And then I think we have to have Darren's opinion is we have to have a discussion on if do we feel that there's a structural deficit, and we kinda know that's coming up, how we're going to approach that. Is it one or two different?
That would have to be with the
Overrides?
select board because we
No,
cannot.
but we can recommend that.
Right, but we should have that conversation with them.
No, right, but I mean,
Yeah, but we have to have the numbers to have that conversation.
we have to have the numbers to know that.
I agree.
Someone mentioned to me the other day, I got a phone call the other day, and they said if you took the school out of it next year, we could almost, the town of Rutland could afford the town of Rutland. And maybe with a little bit of some sort of a override. I don't know that because we don't know those numbers.
Right.
And we have to know that and then say, I don't wanna pit everybody against each other, but the truth be known.
In the past, we used to ask the departments, and I know it's a lot of extra work, but you ask the departments to do the wish list and a level funded or level service, whichever one that's
However
decided.
you wanna say it.
But then that way, we have the two, and then we can ask these, in my opinion, the 5-minute with every department didn't give us enough time to question and ask and get to the root. We used to have longer conversations and have a chance to look at and see a spreadsheet. The 180-page book, in my opinion, we need to see a spreadsheet, because we can manipulate a spreadsheet. We cannot manipulate a 180-page book of, in my opinion, bluff.
Is there any benefit or anything anybody could see negative of not even looking at the revenue at this point? As this committee looking at the expenses?
Sure.
Well, that, and that's
And
my
I
That's
think
point.
that's
kinda
what
where
we're
we wanna
looking
go.
for.
That's
I think
exactly
what
my
we're asking
point.
for.
Start
And the
there.
sticking point may be the revenue, but we could also say, this is, we're looking at expenses and we don't even know what is gonna be offsetting that yet.
Right.
And
So
that's
we-
why
so
these
That's
departments
the thing. Start
Get-
doing their, that's,
start
you know,
doing it early.
No,
They know, right, I wanna, November, when Darren's opinion
too late.
is, we got a lot to figure out in 4 or 5 months with holidays and everything else we're gonna have.
plus the,
In our
plus the
real-
town meeting that's
Yes.
held in November, that eats up a few meetings.
And there's nothing we can do with revenue.
No,
Here.
but we need to know how much it costs to run this town.
Right, and
Yes.
then we can ask for the revenue later, but we're going to need more, less aggressively conservative revenue numbers, I guess is the easiest way I
Eventually.
can say. Yes, eventually, but we need to be working on that. Donna's got a lot to do, I know what a year end is like, and yeah, you kind of work, so we work on the expense side, and then truthfully, by December, we should be able to get out there and say, hey, guys,
Yes.
we need to do, here's where we're at.
Happy
Yeah, because
holidays.
expenses, expenses, we kinda know, or we have
By then, yes.
yeah, but
I think we know most of it right now. It's probably 80,
Well,
I think you could
we have
get
to go back and look at the contracts that
Sure.
have been written and all of those,
But I
Oh,
think
yeah,
it's
no, no,
something
no.
we can figure out now. I don't think we have to wait.
exactly.
And I think-
All the
did you-
contracts, I believe, coming up in June, so that has to be contemplated also.
Well, that's for the next, yes. Well,
You-
that's,
are you talking contracts with bargaining agreement?
Mm-hmm.
All of them come out this June?
and that,
Oh, happy
and
day.
we would be able to say, hey, you can't go given that 8% this year. I mean,
How did
we
they
could
all
have a
come up with
say.
that?
When you can only
Staggered,
go up
Karen.
2.5%, you can't
Didn't get staggered, they're
negotiate
all coming up
for
this time.
5%.
They are staggered.
One more time?
They are
They are
staggered.
They are staggered, but there's a lot of them that come up, there's like 3 of them that come up all at once.
Yes.
And they're the pretty, no, not everyone, but there's like 3 of them that come up all at once and they're the big ones.
Didn't we just do those?
3 years goes fast.
It does, huh? It goes way fast.
What did you bring us that you were maybe gonna hand out or read from?
So, I mean, again, this is preliminary, and so, and I realize, the other thing is, there are a lot of expenses we don't know. There are many that we do, but we don't have any idea what the school will be, right? These are guesses, and hopefully they're
Right.
on the school. Secondly, our health insurance, we won't know that until January, February, what the increase will be on that. And that-
No,
that
but
could
you
be-
can
But you can
ballpark it.
ballpark
For
it,
sure.
that's easy.
And the Worcester County retirement. So they're just ones that I,
Not
on the
gonna
top.
go down.
Yeah,
It's
we
not
can
gonna go
hope.
up
Oh, no, no,
less
no,
than
no, no,
5%.
no, but yes, for
5%, I
sure.
would love
And the
5%.
thing
Look
is,
at an
if you
average
look at, yeah.
how it's gone up.
No, and we can do that through the budget, the departmental budget process too as well. So, here is, you can just pass, I just need to make sure I leave
Like I'm in
myself one.
school.
I know,
Pass it
right?
down.
Take one and pass it back.
It's not the beautiful purple color anymore.
Sorry.
And that smell that went with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe I remember
Yeah,
that.
Oh, the mimeograph, remember, was that what it
We
was?
might have to go back to that because this is too expensive, so be careful.
This is the part that we're looking at, right here on the bottom, at this point.
So I went out to I'm calling a 3-year because I'm thinking the 3 years that are the forecasts, right? The 27, 28, and 29. Jen had pointed out, which I didn't miss, that Austin had 2030, and maybe a 5-year is, but honestly, my eyes are getting so bad that I can't see that paperwork that he did. This one here.
We're with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of going blind in one eye, so I couldn't see that at all. So that's why I did what I did here. But again, we're preliminary. So what this is just showing is that revenue. I am increasing from Austin's back in May because really he estimated that back in December, right? And we didn't even have obviously you're aware of that, yeah.
And it's a forecast. It's going to change all the time.
So in this particular one, I've not changed the new growth because, and I agree, it probably will be more than 250. But even if it goes up to 375, it's not significant, but it is something for sure. I kept with the expenses that Austin was using. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel at this point for the expenses. So there's not much change in what I'm calling scenario 1,
Yeah,
other than the revenue.
but the expenses, we know that there are costs that he didn't increase high enough. We already know one of the things is he didn't take, we didn't take into effect enough of the cost of electricity in town. So we already know that's a shortfall.
But I think our thought as a committee, we haven't formally said anything, but I think the thought process is to figure out how we can separate out utilities from purchase services, because they're non-negotiable.
And that would just be a separate account for each.
Right, so
Department.
at the special town meeting we had last November and at the annual, there is a line item now for electricity that is underneath the DPW. So that we appropriated $50,000 in both, that was somewhat of a new line item. I think we could use some more work on how, when, and why. Right now, it's just being used by the DPW, right? So, there was, it was appropriated in November, right, for fiscal '25, so there was a significant amount left at year end, but it didn't give us the whole year either, if I'm making sense on there, so. Yes, there are some things we can tweak, and that's a very good one. And it was only, I think it did say electricity, not utilities, where there's gas and for heat
Right,
and, yeah,
all
yeah,
of those.
all of them.
I mean, I look at it as make it easy, just put utilities, because those are something, we can't exactly turn off the electricity or the gas to heat the buildings. Water, it's kinda necessary.
If I'm reading this very preliminary thing, it would almost seem that the revenues this year would gonna be good. Just rough, right? Of Darren's non-bookkeeper skills. But then it goes way out of whack the next year, 3 million. And I don't know,
So in this
What's
scenario, I
concerning?
did increase local revenue each year. I tried to be not so conservative in that line item for 27, 28, and 29. So you see, in 26, I'm calling it preliminary because this year isn't until the tax rate, you're
Sure.
following me on that. So I did, there's usually an increase with motor vehicle. So I did try to increase it. I think at
It's
85,
still,
80,000.
it's still conservative,
Right.
but not
It's not
as
level
right,
funded
right,
on a-
exactly.
But you're also using $900,000 in free cash, so take that off the bottom line and it starts looking bad.
But it's not being used on the next year's.
I see
Oh, yeah,
that,
yeah.
I
Oh,
see that,
okay,
but I'm
okay.
saying for fiscal year 26, Darren was
Yes.
saying, oh, it doesn't look too bad. Subtract out, say, $1 million roughly.
yeah. And then, I don't, Karen or Lynn or someone's gonna have to tell me, I don't think that the schools was as 1.2 increase for us. I think it was more than that, wasn't it?
426, this is actual what we appropriated, the 18,580. And that's all schools there. In this, it's some.
So we're almost gonna be, if you look at 27, we're gonna be 2 million out of whack.
Round it to 3.
Well, no, right,
It's round,
yes.
it's probably, yeah.
But when you use these, you said you used the
Well,
expenses
just on the
that
schools, guys,
Austin
I'm
did,
sorry.
but that was the,
Not on the,
for the
You're saying the
cuts to the
schools are
town,
going
that
up by
would, right? That
2
didn't,
and
that's not
your
putting
fifth
everything
is
back
going up by
in
3,
that
yeah.
was cut.
I think these are kind of level funded type estimates, yes.
Based on last year's budget.
So,
or
because they are increasing,
Right.
right? But if,
But he made, there were a lot of cuts at the end, is what I'm saying,
$1
so.
million worth, right?
$1 million,
Roughly.
so if those $1
Plus-
million cuts are in these expenses,
So
we
the-
really
the-
need to add that $1 million back in, so there you are at 2 million right there. You add $1 million in your cuts and you've got $1 million in free cash, there's the 2 million right there for this year,
So,
for 2026.
how does everybody feel? This is one that bothered me a lot last year, that I didn't like the way it went down at the town meeting, so the non-contracted employees, I made a motion to, was it 176 or something, to fund that there, and we took that out of free cash. I don't think it's fair that even though these contractual people are doing, I don't think non-contractual people should suffer, or everybody should suffer the same. That's Darren, if you're gonna give me the pain, everybody's gonna have the same pain. I don't know how we eliminate that, but I think that non-contracted employees in this town have taken a beating ever in a day, and I just think it's unfair. That's Darren's statement. Someone can argue that point.
Over time, it's gonna lead to the people not
Yeah.
working for us anymore.
Absolutely.
And
So, but I don't know how we deal with that, but that is we always go to that. And we save 170, I don't know, what was my motion on the 470, so whatever. We do that, and then we nip and cut. The first one that's gonna take the bite is the highway department, that we always snip him first, and then we go through and we snip everybody else, and then I just,
that's why I think that we need to build those expense budgets from the ground up and say like, this is what the budget needs to be.
This is what we need to be in order to make the,
And
yep, that work.
the three bit, that's what we need to do to do it. And if there's an appetite for whatever's coming down the road, at least everybody knows. And I don't wanna necessarily pit the schools against the town, but I think that we have to be realistic to say, if we get to the point in 5 months from now or 4 months from now that we say we could survive in Rutland, but we got this deficit because of what's caused, the schools have caused us, we have to address that issue too. And I'm not willing to pit everybody against it, but there's a,
I think you're looking at it the wrong way. The school increases are partially because of structurally the way the town and the way the school funding works. That putting a spotlight on where that deficit comes from is fine, but blaming the schools for that is like.
okay, all right, I don't know if I'm blaming the school, but indirectly, that $2 million increase hurts us. So how do,
Fantastically, yeah, it
and
absolutely.
I'm not saying how we got there, but we got there because we,
And getting
fix
that
it?
$2 million increase in March makes a very painful last month, because we usually
but
do
it,
not get
I
the
think
increases
Ludwig's
in
right, we
March.
shouldn't blame, it's not. We did it to ourselves in the over the years, we've done this to
Well, and
ourselves.
it's
Well, and the
what
state's
Princeton
given us,
didn't do,
and it's
what,
the
you know.
and it's the last, the state's giving us less
It's easy for
unrestricted
it's easy for
governmental
Darren
aid,
to-
so that means more of us are paying.
And there's more building in town, so there's
It's-
more school.
Well, that's where I'm going, it's
school
easy for
system.
Darren to point the finger at the school, because when you, the bottom line is yes, but we did this to ourselves, and the end result of the school going up
Sure.
is this.
You know, so let me talk about the school a little bit, because I'm gonna be spending a lot of time looking at the school, and, you know, we talk about the 100% transportation reimbursement, and we haven't gotten there, we've never been there, but we're getting close. But you know that's not on the cost of transportation, it's like when your dentist submits a bill to your insurance company and they say, that $500 procedure that you think you're gonna get, we really only gonna cut, you know, we really only think it's worth $250, we're only gonna give you 80% of that. So it's nowhere near the 500, and we've got transportation at this $500 level, but the state is saying it's only worth $200, and they're not even giving us 100% of the 200. So it's huge. Like, where did that and why? I mean, I think if everybody said, oh, we're trying to get toward 100% transportation reimbursement, I think we all think that's the final number, and it's nowhere near that.
It's not even close.
And I did not know that. But then little things, and I always said, you know, even in my personal budget, you nickel and dime yourself into debt because you don't think about the small purchases. And I was aghast, and it sounds silly, but it's a nickel and dime situation, that they spent, in my estimation, and it may be right or wrong, about $500,000 on back to school supplies for every child in the district this year. So we're pinching pennies here in this town, in our budget, and they're giving away.
I think if you're gonna
School
say a number like
supplies.
that, we have to have backup. It
And
can't
I
just
said,
be
I may
taken out
be
of thin
right or
air.
wrong, but I.
Well, but now it's out there, right?
But I took
So you gotta
the number
be-
of students, and I said, back to school supplies, I thought would be conservatively at $75 for each kid for the year. That's 500,000. So,
And what we're not gonna do is, I would love everybody to go through all the research and come back and say we have facts, right? And you, I know you will, and we just can't. This is gonna be painful all around.
it is, and it's hard when we have to look at more than just our own income and expenses, we have to be looking.
Donna, if this is scenario one, does that mean there are other scenarios?
No,
Is this the best
Yeah.
scenario, Donna?
She did say she had 3.
So I was trying to help us think on, and I think we all agree the one-time revenue is not a good idea, but it is very common in municipal government, right? so we're not alone in that. So I was just trying to give us some ideas to feel like, and again, it does not change, the expenses have not changed, it's only the revenue that are changing in scenario 2 and 3. But realistically, we will use some part of free cash, and I think that's common. Realistically, we don't want to use all of it, but part of the free cash does come from the year before's estimates, because they have to be estimates. So it's, in my thinking, it's not completely incorrect to use a portion of it, because it was from revenues and expenditures that were estimated that either came in higher or the expenditures were lower, right?
And I think that's what I'm talking about, it being inefficient, right? Because then we have free cash and it's like, oh, we're allocating from free cash to do this, and it's like,
Well,
Savings account.
well, the thing is, what happens is, we're conservative up top, so we create free cash, when if we were
right,
a
but then
little.
it feels like you have this bonanza,
Right, and we don't.
and it's not a bonanza.
But we really should be using the free cash to maybe repair our buildings that need to be repaired, like
Yeah,
the
But,
window.
but it's a forced savings account, yes.
Right.
Donna.
It's forcing that.
In the capital items, it goes from 325 down to 100,000 from FY 26 to 27.
So this, in our current fiscal year, we voted $325,000. It for current, I don't remember, I think it might have been Article 8. And then the estimates that Austin had put together, he was suggesting that, I think he didn't want to put nothing there, so it's 100. Yes, that may or may not be. You know, in some cases, these numbers are pulled just logical, right?
So it's a self-inflicted cut, it's not based on any,
Because in 26, that is an actual, what we went to town meeting for in May. And it was funded by it was funded some by free cash and some by the capital.
you still on capital, Harry?
No, but I try to keep in touch, but I'm not. Why, you got a question?
I mean, my guess would be that they could easily spend way more than 100, right?
Well, look at it this way, we've got over $20 million of capital
Well,
out
see,
there
but
that we
that's
could buy.
part of what this,
Okay, that's the buildings,
need.
like for example, just DPW alone, we could probably fund him $700,000 and he still wouldn't be up to snuff. Okay?
Building maintenance, he's gotta be a couple, as
I
I hear
think-
the water dripping in the back.
Actually, as a strategy point, right, I think financing some of those capital expenditures would be a really smart move. And we gotta find the right pieces to do that with, but that would really help over time. It's not anything like a panacea, but I think, strategically, I think we should think about that.
Well, I know in the past, one of the things that we as a finance committee have done is we have put more than the percentage into capital stabilization, so that it was taking the free cash and putting it aside into capital stabilization, more than what we said we would, because that way we would have it there.
So we have emergency things we can try and take
Right.
care of.
I mean, it also says in this one that we're gonna use 1% of the general appropriation for our reserve fund. I don't think we've ever done that, but I could be wrong.
We threw a little money here and there, I didn't know near what percent.
And that's the thing, so, and I know once upon a time when Margaret was here, I think we said we would use $150,000 of free cash towards the budget every year.
So, Mr. Chairman, we have 3 scenarios in front of us now. What do we do with it and by when? We have a meeting on September 2nd with the select board. That has a particular agenda, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, which is probably not hashing over this to a large extent, or is it?
It's gonna tie into it.
Do we still have the proposed budgets for the departments for this past fiscal year?
Well, it's online, so that,
The original ask from the departments, right? Not,
I think so.
that's,
I think
Yeah,
that's one
some
of
of
the
the hard
ones.
copies in my office.
is that available in the FinCom
I think it's one of,
SharePoint?
I think it's one of the columns.
Yeah, if
We
you,
didn't get,
Department asks, what,
Tamika.
then the TA comes back and
but we
yea or
didn't see
nays
any
it.
of that.
It's
yeah,
on.
Tamika, correct, but on the one that the select board got, he had the one was, we want this override, that takes care of everything. And if the override doesn't go through,
And it goes
You have
by
to cut.
department,
it does.
okay.
But that's not saying that that's what the department asked for.
Okay, but at least it's, okay, I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying.
that's the thing,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not necessarily what the department
Okay,
asked for,
it's what Austin put forth as
Right.
being a
what would be.
proposed
right,
budget for
exactly.
that.
Tamika, what is the exact agenda for the September 2nd?
To talk about the town council policy and the changes to the financial policy as far as what was voted on at town meeting for the Wachusett Regional School District, as far as their capital stabilization fund.
And the schools. How we're
So it
gonna,
says
we have to write something in the
department
specific for the new enterprise, for the schools, money for the maintenance of the school.
Yes, yep.
Sorry, just dawned on me, I'm
No,
like,
that's
wait,
okay.
that's-
My brain took a minute.
We could
Can I have that?
ask them to add this to their agenda, it's not the end of the, we're gonna be there.
yeah, I know, but I think we should have another meeting with
So the
them to go
highlighted
over this, because I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's
just
gonna
kinda
be
what
too
I've
much with
changed,
everything
you know,
else that they have to
Which makes
cover.
sense.
It's almost
Thank
like we
you.
have to have a special meeting just for the budget and sit down and really hash out things.
Okay,
Cause they have a lot of regular business they have to cover anyway. And don't forget, now they're also gonna be starting to do, you know, next budget, next meeting, they're gonna be, just Monday's meeting, they're gonna start talking about the TA and deciding interviews for who's gonna help us find one.
Yes.
so to go with Ted's statement here, I think we should, you think 2 or 3 weeks out, guys, we should meet again and just hash it, well, sometime halfway between now and September 2nd, and, or the week before September 2nd, and just to have a game plan going into it.
Well,
Okay.
for the September 2nd meeting, I guess I wanna understand, are they going, is the are the select board looking for us to give recommendations? Or is it, I mean, cause we didn't have much say, this was all kinda done in a vacuum. So I'm just kinda making sure that,
I don't know if the selectmen had much say.
that I can't tell you, but they approve policies. So I'm just trying to make sure, we're not a policy-making board, I just kinda wanna make sure before any of us spend significant time reading through 50 pages, if it's, are they gonna take it, or are they just looking for those 2 things and that's it?
There's a lot in here, but a lot of the pages are references to Mass General Law and where it came from.
Right. But I don't know if I mean, I don't know, I looked through some of this stuff and just briefly, and I don't think it says, you know, what percentage we're gonna give to this and what percentage we're gonna give to that, and I don't know, cause I haven't had the chance.
I didn't-
You know, 50 pages is a lot to read.
Anybody have a recommendation when we should have our next meeting, or should I go to the selectmen's meeting and ask that question, or should we send them a note?
I think we should have a meeting that has an agenda item that is specifically to sort of get our ducks in a row to be prepared for that September 2nd meeting.
But I think we should ask them in a note for them to find out what they wanna do before we do it, right? What's their thoughts?
On the September 2nd.
Yes.
What do they want from us?
What would make that meeting the most productive?
Right,
Oh, I like that.
marketing, huh?
Well,
He's
That's-
he's trying to push little ducks
That's
all
the
around
spin.
every day. Tamika, can you make that happen?
Sure can.
Thank you. So, we've beaten that up a little bit. Does anyone have anything else?
Were we supposed to discuss what we want as a town administrator, what we're looking for? Is that something we were supposed to discuss tonight?
Well, yes. Well, I had made a recommendation and then they sent a note back. And I sent it to everybody, I think. I sent it to everybody. You asked me a question.
That's about the asking for what our committee thinks is important in a town administrator.
Right.
Yeah,
When did we get that?
Monday.
Well, your
Right.
request had been to perhaps be involved on whatever committee
And I
there was,
didn't
and
see
then the
that-
email came back that said, we wanna know what each department or board wants in a town
Thanks, Karen.
administrator, right?
Yes. So,
Just agenda wise, right? Gotta be.
The email we got from you was TA search process.
Yeah.
could we
Could you?
forward that to Ludwig? And Carol, did you get it?
I think so.
And
Do you wanna just maybe plan for another, 2 weeks? Because
Yeah.
they won't have started yet, really.
no, we can come up with,
If we plan for another meeting in
if
2
you
weeks.
could forward that to those two, at least they're on the same page of what I got back and then we
Carol,
can.
it's from
Horror
Saturday,
about that.
July
I
26th.
was on it.
Yeah.
So that
Forward it to you if you want.
brings up, I got an email this morning from our traveling board member,
Oh, okay.
and he asked the following question. Darren, in reading the emails and the info, there was info about paying for the search consulting from available salary funds, in parentheses, TA salary line item, and then replacing it in the fall town meeting. Last I knew, you are not supposed to use this salary account money for purchase services and vice versa. Unless the rules have changed, unless the rules have changed, I just want you to know so you could query the account and or the treasurer for the proper action. Don, do you know anything about that?
So, the way we vote town meeting, it is allowed. And so there was a policy put forth in fiscal 2024 to allow the transfers within the department. So anything, within town administrator's line item they could take from one part and put it into
Okay.
purchase services. And the policy is with the approval of the board of, policy is with the approval of the town administrator.
You don't vote on the individual line, you're voting on the aggregate of that individual department.
Okay, so I can answer this email to our traveling board member
That is
and
correct.
just say that.
But then funding that town administrator's
It doesn't
salary
mean-
line will again increase the bottom line on our forecast.
It's gonna increase it to it because, the salary that you're gonna have to offer is gonna have to be more than you currently have allocated.
But yeah, it's not that
Maybe.
the search committee fee itself is gonna put us over,
It's the actual.
it's the
funding-
actual
funding
salary.
of the salary.
Because there is some salary that we're not paying while we're having a part-time.
No, actually, no, we have.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
So we're really
correct me if
not,
I'm wrong,
we're
he's,
spending money we don't have.
yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
And then we're gonna fund the
Because
rest of that for using free cash. So again, we keep changing these numbers.
But we do need to move forward with the search before we have certified free cash.
I agree,
There is that.
without a doubt.
And we're not, but I guess the short answer is we are not saving any money. Unfortunately,
If I might, we're saving benefits, the cost of the benefits, we're
there you go.
not paying for benefits.
That is,
So we are saving
It's-
some,
It's
yeah,
included
third.
in his, it's
Yes.
included in his hourly
in
rate.
his rate, yeah. Okay,
Is that
But-
public information?
I'm assuming.
I'm just wondering, because I don't know.
all we know
I
is a
thought-
rate, right?
I thought,
So on the next, let's bring it up at the next, put it on the agenda for the next meeting. So we're not crossing any dotted lines that I have to get corrected on. And we will talk about what we would like, or what we think the perfect town administrator candidate could be.
One that's here for longer than 2 years.
Or we do that.
Alright,
Any other, so there's a couple
so
of
what
agenda
date is
items.
that gonna be?
What's that?
What's the date of the next
What are we
meeting?
looking at?
Let's go 2 weeks.
14th, I think. Okay, I may not be around, I may be on vacation, but
Would
that's
you
okay.
rather go the week after? I don't think it has to be 2 weeks, it could be
It
3
doesn't, I
weeks.
just figured I'd ask.
Let's go 3 weeks.
Wait a minute, let me look at the dates, hold on, what are
that
we,
would be,
2 weeks
yeah,
is-
better for me too. I could be remote.
There we
No,
go.
actually, I wouldn't be remote,
You're very far remote?
no. Different
yeah,
story.
3 weeks is actually better for me.
Alright, so let's go, we'll put it 3 weeks. So one of the agenda items
Is that the
is some more discussion on the budget.
21st.
21st, thank you.
One of the agenda items is the financial policy. And we're gonna send a note to the selectmen, and hopefully in 3 weeks we'll have an answer to them, from them, about what they feel our role is.
I'm hoping we have that before then, because we
Yeah,
don't
well, so we
want,
can discuss it, right?
well, so that we all can
Yes,
do the work that we have to do for it.
if we need to.
Right.
And then I'd like to discuss the TA and any other agenda items that we come up with between now and then. Does everybody agree with that, those 3 little ditties? Productive meeting, guys. I hate the, I think we wanna keep going in the right direction, and we have a great group of people that have varying opinions, and we're very respectful of everybody's time, and thank you very much for coming in. I would love someone to make a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Bye.
So-
I was gonna say that.